Stay on target! Stay on target! It's crashing time!
Hello and welcome to the podcast. So there I was, which is how all great aviation stories start.
All of
this
them.
is
everyone.
Everyone, repeat, everyone. And this is episode number 42 with a lot of great stories.
Absolutely. With a fine Marine aviator who flew single-engine, single-seat attack jets. Tried it in the simulator and it crashed every time is the title of this episode.
4,300 hours of single seat flying in tactical jets in the Marine Corps. A4 mics, OA4 mics, and T-28 and Aviate Harrier combat pilot.
Yeah. And flight school in the T-28 Trojan, which was a monster radial engine trainer airplane. So a lot of amazing stories from a man who's been there, done that. I'm sure he's gotten a couple T-shirts out of it as well.
Yeah, and surprisingly, I find out near the end of the interview, he flew the whole time.
Yeah. He had the type of career that every Marine pilot dreams of, spending all that time.
Unheard of. Unfreaking heard of.
What you wouldn't give to spend that time in the cockpit.
Right. Right. And he's had great experiences and he tells great stories.
He does indeed. So you know what? Let's get out of the way and let him do it. Here he comes now. It's Smytty.
About crossing the pond.
I tried it in the simulator.
At night.
Crashed every time.
In the world's smallest
Don't
cockpit.
Sit on that ejection handle.
On the tanker.
Enjoy.
Through the weather. Oh, and to the tanker crew who did that. Thanks a lot. We really appreciated that. I'm just kidding.
No, he's not.
No, I'm not. Well, there I was, crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly fun.
So there I was.
That's how all great aviation tales begin. Greetings, folks. You're listening to the podcast. So there I was. This is Repeat coming to you from Alaska today.
Oh,
joined by my co-host Fig. How you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm doing great, my friend. I'm live, so to speak, from Kansas City.
Nice.
And I am excited to introduce you to Smytty. Hello, Smytty.
Hello, how are you guys doing?
Great. Welcome, Marine. All right.
Nice to be here.
Smytty, a AV8 AB A4 mic attack pilot extraordinaire.
Indeed. We were in rarefied air here, Fig. Rarefied air.
I can't wait to hear all this.
This is going to be good stuff. So, Smitty, we're going to start at the beginning. How did you get interested in aviation, and how did you find yourself in Pensacola getting those naval aviation wings of gold?
Well, my father and actually my grandfather, my uncle, and my dad were all pilots. And so I grew up on the right seat on boxes looking out over the front of a 172 and 182 aircraft. So it was kind of born into me.
Nice. The family business.
So, I just probably like everybody else here at college. And actually, I went to the Navy side and took their test, and they said, "Oh yeah, you're good to go," and that. So, oh, great. So then, like the next week, the Marines were there. Had really flashy uniforms, and really nobody in my family had been in the military. So saw the uniforms and went over to just say hi, and they said, "Well, this, that, and the other." I said, "Well, it's too bad. I've already taken the test for the Navy, and so I'm trying to all set up over there." And they said, "Hey, you know what? Those are the same tests we get. So if you passed them, you passed ours.
You're good."
So that's the start of it. That was the start right there.
Nice. The Marine Corps stole one from the Navy. That's
absolutely
outstanding.
Finally, because we've had a couple go the other way around, right? Yeah,
I know. Yes, Nasty went the wrong way. PLC, Smitty, PLC program.
Yep, PLC, and just normal PLC. Went to Quantico. I went to Quantico, and then headed down to Pensacola, and that's my tale really starts.
Outstanding. Well,
so tell us about Pensacola. What was
I want to hear that.
We got there in early summer and 76. And so we went through all the physiology and all that training and that. Then we got to the end and they said, hey, we're not going to get the T-34 Charlies as promised. So we're going to run one last class of T-34 Bravos through as softly. And the rest of you guys are going to go fly the T-28 at Whiting in about 2 months, because they were trying to work the syllabus and getting the airplanes and getting everything ready for the primary students to go up there. And so we kind of huddled with a couple of my buddies and said, hey, let's summer off in Pensacola. That sounds good to us. I didn't know what a T-38 was, so it didn't matter to me.
Right.
So we said, hey, we'll wait. And so we spent the summer going to the beach and with our wives on motorcycles, and we had a blast.
Sounds horrible.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that T-28 Trojan, that was a monster airplane too. What did that have? Wasn't it like a 9 or 12 cylinder radial engine in it?
A 12 cylinder. It's either 9 or 12, 1425 horse engine. I think it's right. Right.
So, okay. So help me out here, because I'm thinking that, so was the T-28 already in service, and they, cause it just seems like it's an old airplane.
Yeah. It was like 1949 or 1950 when they came out with that airplane.
Yeah.
So what were they?
It was initially used to take the pilots from props to jets. And so that was the airplane they were using, both Air Force and Navy, to transition the guys into jets.
Okay.
And so what the Navy was using them for is, once all the pilots finished the primary T-34s, the fixed wing guys, the jet guys, would go to Beeville, Kingsville, or Meridian, and the helo guys would go to Whiting, and they flew the T-28 for I don't know how many more hours, but they flew the T-28. So that was its primary mission, at least when I was there. That it was a secondary helo airplane that they transited from the T-34.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just remember being up close to that thing. That was a monster airplane. It was
Well,
much
it's
bigger
big.
than the T-34. So.
Oh yeah, I truck rolled that thing more than once.
Yeah, I bet it took a bootload of rudder, and when you put the power up for takeoff, holy smokes!
It did, yeah, for sure.
Oh, cool airplane.
How about that?
So
Yeah, so I graduated out of that and got jets and went up to Meridian. Pretty uneventful. Went through that training and chose
T2s, TA4s, right? T2s
Yeah,
in the intermediate. Okay.
Yeah, T2s, T84s. Then went to Yuma. And so I got to Yuma. I went up to the Group XO's office, and that's, who you check through. And so he said, hey, Smytty, he said, do you want to fly A4s or F4s? And so one of my primary instructors was an A4 guy, and another guy was an RF4 guy. So I said, well, I kind of like to go fast, so I'll go F4s. So he said, fine. So I run down to 101, and I walk in the ready room, and this captain comes up to me and says, hey, are you the new guy? I said, you checking in? I said, yes, I am. So he goes over to the board, the duty board, scratches the name off, and said, hey, you got duty this week.
Oh, geez. Welcome aboard.
welcome aboard, Bohica.
I'm a second lieutenant guy, and so whatever. Fortunately, nothing happened because I didn't know who the CO was. So the boat get checked in and I get my NATOPS. I start doing a couple of simulators, and the OPSO calls me in his office and says, hey, Smytty, you're going to go RF Force. You have pretty good boat grades, so you'll end up going to Shaw Air Force Base and learning to fly the RF floor. I told him, I don't want to fly the RF floor. I said, I want to fly the F floor. And that's what my buddy or my instructor said. He says, don't fly RF-4s, fly F-4s. You want to drop bombs and shoot missiles and do all that. So I thought, well, that's what I want to do too.
Hell yeah.
So I said, once I said I didn't want to, the officer told me, get the fuck out of his office. And so I did the about face and left. And so I went home. I was really bummed. Going, well, I told Carol, I said, dang, I guess we're going to have to go to Char Force Base and that. And so the next morning, actually that night, well, you know what? The Group XO did say A4s or F4s. So I hauled my butt back up to the Group XO's office, walked in his office and said, sir, and I gave him this long story. I don't want to fly F4s, like a whiny little second lieutenant. And I said, I don't want to fly RF4s. I said, I want to fly F4s. If I can't do that, then I want to fly A4s. Thank goodness this guy was an A4 guy. In fact, he was the former 102 CO. So he was really tuned into that.
Nice.
And so he looked at me, said, well, okay, I wouldn't want to fly F4s either. So here you can go to 102. So yay. So now I had to go back to 101 and get my OQR and get my logbooks and training records. So
oh boy.
Go back and get my logbooks and training records wasn't a problem. That was a clerk who got it. Well, when I went to S1 and say I need my OQR, the staff sergeant said, what do you need it for? And, gave me the 100 questions. I'm sitting there going, crap. How do I do this? So I said, well, the Group XO wants to meet with me and he told me to bring my OQR. So they finally handed it over. And I literally left 101. I didn't check out, nothing. I left 101, checked into 102, and that's how I started my
Wow.
career.
It sounds like to me your entire career is now a scam then, because you don't even have orders to the A4 yet.
So non-standard. I don't even know how that happened. It's just a matter of fact. How did you leave Meridian not knowing whether you're going to fly A4s or F4s, right, and then given the I don't understand how that's unheard of. That's amazing.
Yeah. The group CO said A4s or F4s, and I chose F4s. So anyway, so let's fast forward. I don't know, 10 years or so. I'm the AMO of 331. And so I'm sitting in my office, and this guy that just checked in kept walking by my office. And I saw that he had some wings of gold on or something. And I was always busy. Every time he walked by, I was always busy and that. And so finally he went by and I said, hey, Gunny, get in here. So he comes in and I said, why are you wearing NFO wings? And he says, you don't remember me, do you? Yeah, I know. No. He said, I was in 101 as a NFO instructor. He says, I even went over to the simulator with you and showed you, around the cockpit and that. I said, no, I don't remember that. But yeah. So what happened is he did make major since he's prior enlisted. They let him revert back to enlisted, but he was able to retire as a captain. So that's a side.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Okay. That's funny.
Very cool. Let me back up for just a second. You talked about being the AMO, and so for our listeners, that's the aircraft maintenance officer for the squadron. That was his job in there.
Yeah.
And and OQR is officer qualification record. That's the record you carry around with you as an officer. It tells you every school you've been to, every medal you rate, all that happy stuff. So, all right. Sorry to the interruption. Continue.
No problem. So I go through 102, had a great time, great people there. And, so 214 was getting ready to go overseas, and I don't know, 8 months, 10 months, something like that. And they were looking for 4 lieutenants. And so Stump, myself, Famous, and Grizz were the 4 lieutenants that we kind of chose to go to 214 to get ready to do that. So I go there and I get a phone call actually before I left. Yuma, I get a phone call from the OPSO and says, "Hey, check into 214 first. Don't check into the group." I go, "Well, okay, whatever." So I did. And so, walked up to OPSO, and it's Raven, a great guy. He says, "Smytty, no matter what the group XO tells you, you come back to 214. I said, "Oh, well, whatever."
Oh, boy.
I think I was maybe a first lieutenant then, maybe still second. I can't remember. So anyway, so I go up to group and report to the group XO. And so I'm in my office, and so he doesn't put me at ease. So I'm staying in attention. So he sticks out his hand, to shake it. So I reach over, and he grabs my hand and pulls me across his desk. So I'm, almost pulls me off my feet. And I go, "Hey, crap." So I get back to attention, all that. And he's gone through my training record, and I had no problems, no downs, no problem. I didn't have any problems at all. So he was going through it, and he's getting madder and madder as he's going through my logs. And I was just going, there's no problem.
Why?
And so finally he says, he yells at me, says, "You don't deserve to fly A4s. I'm going to send you to A6s. But sir, I said, "I've been trained in A4. And with that, he throws my record over my shoulder. It's going everywhere. And he starts screaming at me, "Get out of my office. Get the fuck out of my office." I'm scrambling around his office. I'm getting all the papers, and I run back down to 214, and I kind of, apologizing to the OPSO. I said, "Oh, sorry, OPSO. I must have blown my interview because he told me I was going to fly A6s." And he said, "No, don't worry about it."
Did they set you up? Was that a joke?
Well, that's more to the story. So Famous is right behind me. So I call Famous, told him what happened. So Famous checks in like the next week or so. And Famous is a lot taller than me. I'm 5'10", and he's like 6'2" or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I told him what happened. So when the group XO puts his hand out, JG grabs it, and he pulls Pissarros across the table. So that interview lasts 2 seconds.
That's
so
awesome. Oh, that's beautiful.
And so then we, I don't know what it is, but anyway, so that's when I found out that his nickname was Screaming George Pissarros. Screaming George. Funny. And oh my God, he was quite a character.
So he just did that to all the lieutenants.
Yeah. Screaming George.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
That is funny. So he was just trying to see how you guys would react to his tormentations.
He was psycho, Vietnam guy that something's wrong with his brain or something. I don't know. So now we're in 214, and we're getting ready to go overseas, and A4s were nuclear qualified airplanes. So all of the pilots before you went overseas had to be nuclear qualified, which was a big deal. And everything about the check ride and everything you need to know, and all that was top secret. And you couldn't say anything about the flight. The only thing that was not top secret was the page number. And the page number for what you needed to do to get qualified was an A20R. So if you talk to any A6 or A4 guy back in that era, you talk about A20R check. Don't know exactly what that is.
Right. Awesome.
And a pain in the butt too. So Grizz is the last one. We're going to Yuma, and he's getting his check ride. So he thought, "Hey, be great to just get your check ride on the way there." So he's flying with John Goodman, and Goodman ended up being a 3-star general. He's got quite a backstory too. We don't have time to get into it. So there's different modes to deliver a nuclear weapon, and Grizz was going to do what's called over the shoulder. And so you basically fly over the target, you pull up, straight up, bomb releases, you go back one way, bomb comes down. Okay. Well, that was what was planned. Well, what happened is when he was over the target and he's pulling up, when he's about 45 degrees nose up, the bomb releases. And it's a Mark 76, so it's not that big. But the bomb releases, and Goodman's going, "Holy crap." So he's watching the bomb go. Then he had to turn around and join up with Grizz on the way out. And he said, "Last thing I saw, that bomb was heading toward Mexico." So,
Yeah.
so that night there was a big conversation of if they're going to report that or not. You know, and holy cow, you know, we're going to tell Mexico we bombed them by accident. I said, sorry.
A long way.
So we don't know if it ever went to Mexico, but probably somewhere in the Sonora Desert down there, there's a Mark 76 sticking up out of the ground.
Way off the target range, huh?
Way off.
Those lofts were fun. Fig, I think we might have talked about it on one of the other shows, but that was the cool thing when you were doing the loft deliveries. As soon as you heard the tone when the bomb released, you just unload, roll inverted, and fly formation on your bomb for a while. It was still going.
Yeah.
That was a hoot.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we call them idiot loops.
Right? Yep.
So we head over to Iwakuni, kind of normal debt, Misawa, Kadena.
Hey, Smytty, how many airplanes in the squadron and how many pilots back then?
20 airplanes, and gosh, the max I think we ever had was like 25 pilots.
It was kind of set up like a Harrier squadrons ended up being, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very similar. Early on, Bach took 3 lieutenants. It was me, Stup, and Grizz on a cross country to kind of show us around. So we flew down to Kadena and flying around there, and that was on Saturday. So Saturday night, we went to the club to have dinner and have a couple of brews. So Vox leaves right away, right after dinner. And so us lieutenants are there. And so Grizz and Stop decided it'd be kind of great fun to throw the bottles against the wall and break the bottles. I'm going, well, I'm not in it. So,
This is in the club on a Saturday night in Kadena, right? Air Force Base.
I'm out of here. So I walk out and I get about a quarter mile up the road walking to the BOQ, and the MP car passes me with his lights going. I'm going, well, I know where he's going. They go in, they both meet at the door of the club. Well, as soon as Stump and Grizz see him, they start running. So they run. The MPs catch them, tackle them, put them in handcuffs, and take them to the brig. So I'm up in my room now, and I'm getting kind of ready to go to bed. And I get a phone. Said, hey, Smytty, you got to come down, bail us out. So I get base taxi, go around and go ahead and to get them out. And they wouldn't release them to me because I was another lieutenant. And they said, we need a superior officer. And I'm going, crap.
I'm superior in every way. Give them to me.
Come on.
So I go back around and knock on G-Box's door and get him up and tell him what had happened. He goes, get the fuck in your room. I don't want to see you till tomorrow morning. Yes, sir. So he goes, gets him out of jail. We were to the room. Stomp was with Bach. I was with Grizz. So Grizz tells me what happened. I really didn't know what had happened. So, holy shit. So we take off and we fly to Korea. And we fly Korea, to Osan and Daegu and maybe one other place. And so it get late afternoon. So we fly back to Iwakuni. CO, XO, and OPSO is waiting for us. That paperwork went to the wing and went to the group, and finally made it back down to the squadron. So, and everybody's asking a lot of questions. So
Good news traveled fast.
Oh, it does. So the CO and XO get with Grizz, Stop, and Bot. Now, OPSO pulls me off because my name wasn't on the reports. I was kind of alone. So he asked me what happened. So I, very gingerly said, well, guys, we had dinner. I had a couple of beers, and I went back to my room. So I didn't know what story those guys were going to say.
That's my bullshit story, and I'm stuck with it, sir.
You're damn straight.
The denied thing, right?
Good.
And those guys were put in hand for like 2 weeks. They were the permanent ODOs, which
I
everybody
didn't do
else liked. Yeah, no, everybody else liked because we'd have to do the ODO thing. The rest of the debt was pretty good. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Charlie Carr. He was a legend in the A6 community. At one time, he was like the most decorated Marine in the Marine Corps, and the guy was just phenomenal. And I think the CO had already taken the first group. They were traced back and back. So now it's Charlie Carr there with the remaining pilots and that. Well, they were at the club. They were at Iwakuni, and they were raising hell. So the group CO, the station CO comes and pulls Charlie Carr out and start talking to him. Well, in the meantime, Rocky Lahonky. Rocky was at station ODO. And so he hears what's going on and he's going, holy crap. So he goes down there and he's walking down the hallway and he's seeing the groups on their side, station CO punching Charlie Carr in the chest. And so after a little bit, Charlie Carr goes off and hauls off and hits him. And the face, and Rocky goes, oh my God, I'm just witnessing something that's probably going to end up in a court martial. He didn't want to have any part of that. So he disappears in a side room. And so he kind of peeks out around. So the group COs, the station COs coming down, his glasses are kind of lopsided and his red face was all red. And so he leaves. And so Rocky goes, oh my God. And so Farr makes sure he's on the first airplane out of there the next morning. And so they fly to Hawaii. They going into El Toro, and now there's a message waiting for him saying he needs to come back to Iwakuni, back to First Ma. And so the third Ma CG and Charlie Carr were old friends from the A6s, and they go way back. So their message is going back and forth on with the generals, and I think the third Ma general says, well, he's here now and we'll take care of it. So Charlie Carr is a freaking legend. And I got a further story. I don't know if we're getting this, but there's another Charlie Carr story.
Okay.
So I gotta stop it real quick, Smytty. You used a term I don't think we've heard yet. I mean, we know what it means, but you're going to have to define it for us. You said your fellow compadres there were put in hack for 2 weeks. Hack. What is that?
Well, hack usually means your flight suit is in the CO, or all your flight gear is in the CO's office, and he controls your flying for 2 weeks or for whatever time you're in hack. And so for these guys, their flight equipment was in the CO's office, that symbolized that you're in trouble.
And they were permanent duty officers for a couple of weeks. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's typically punished for any aviator, permanent ODO for a week or two or whatever.
Roger that.
If you get your flight gear in the CO's office, you're really in trouble. So anyway, so we fly back. I want to keep going here, but how we transpacked is very interesting back in the day. Maybe we can get back to that some other time. So
okay, well, really quickly, if you would tell what transpack is, and then I'm assuming you're talking about the C-130s and the duck butts and all that good stuff.
Yep, that's it. The 130, the 5 130s, half the squadron would take off. The 530s would be in line. We would plug, and the C-9s would be our Pathfinders. And then we'd go to the C-130s and refuel with them. We had to toboggan down to keep our airspeed up. So we'd be in the high teens by the time we got done refueling. Then we'd go back up, find the C-9, and then press on. Oh, it was quite a spectacle to see 5 130s across the beam. But back then, that's how you transpack. Then transpack is when you fly your airplanes over the Pacific, going over the Far East. So we have translant, which is going to Europe or going to the So
hey, now, Smytty, I got a quick question for you. So back then, I know when we West-Pac was traditionally one squadron would fly the airplanes over, and the airplanes would stay in West-Pac for like a year, and so we would swap out airplanes, and then the second squadron that had the airplanes would end up taking them back. Did you guys do the same thing with the A4s? Did you take them both ways?
Yes, we did the same thing in the A4s.
Okay.
In fact, that was my next story. My next squad 211, and so we had a great CO, and that you'll hear me. I was just so blessed to be around some great COs and great people like Lawman and those guys. I was just really fortunate. So anyway, so 211, and I'm fortunate enough to get chosen to go to WTI. So I worked really hard and show up at WTI and there's 3 A4 guys. There are only 3 A4 guys, and they're all from the West Coast, 211, 214, and 311. The East Coast couldn't even get guys ready to go. And there were no Harrier guys. Of course, the Harrier is the same, light attack as A4. So a lot of our missions and all that crossed between the two communities. So there was only 3 of us there, Nacho, Tater, and me. So it's fine. It's 3 weeks of fire hose, academics, all that. So we start flying. So the A4 used JATO takeoff bottles. And so the first time we used them, that we were clean, no ordnance or anything. So we were clean. And so we take off and it was a kick in the pants. It was actually a lot of fun. Next time we used them, like the next day, we were fully loaded. We had a 6-pack of Mark 82s and a 6-pack of napalm. And so we take off. Well, now it's Tater's turn to take off. And so he takes off, lifts up, brings his gear up, JATO bottles run out, and he settles back onto the runway. So he's on the runway. He gets airborne somehow. Now he's completely rubbed off the bottom of his fuel tank. So all the fuel is just gushing out. Crossing 32nd Avenue. I mean, you guys can just imagine.
Gosh.
Right in Yuma, Arizona. Sure. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, got a big thing. And so they tell him, go to Chocolate Mountains and just chain everything off. Just don't bring anything back. Just chain everything off there. So that's what he does. He comes back. We continue on with our mission. And so he gets back and, he gets yelled at. And it was kind of a group thing. They yelled at, you guys, get on the books, because he screwed up his airspeeds. So he screwed it up later on. Next week, now we're doing CAS. And we're out to the Chocolate Mountains, and we have inert 82s, not live. So we're practicing 10 degree and that. Well, so we had a FAC on the ground, and artillery, the 109s, were marking our targets. And so this is our first run. So I come in, do the pop and that, cleared hot, all that. So egress, and now Tater's turn. So he comes in and calls popping, and the FACs that are looking, and Tater says wings level, and the FAC's still looking, and he hears this, and the bomb comes off.
Oh boy!
And FAC goes, "What the fuck? I didn't give you a clear hot." And so he pulls off and that, and so what Tater had done is he had zeroed in on the smoke from the 109 when it fired the shot over.
Oh shit! He zeroed in on the cannon.
Yes.
Oh,
Fortunately, pissed, but they were pissed.
Gee, I can't.
So
this is a WTI class.
I know it. And so we get back. Now we get yelled at. Everybody's yelling at us, and holy cow, what our instructors are getting yelled at, and that. So no shit. So we go about a few more days. Now we're doing air refueling at low level, doing 1,000 feet, 500 feet, and it was in April, so it was bumpier than whatever. The baskets were doing figure eights out there, and everybody dabbing at the basket, and so everybody kind of gets in all that. Well, now it's Tater's turn, so he gets on there and that, and I'm off to the side waiting for him to finish up, and all of a sudden I hear I flame down. Oh shit! We're low level, barely doing 250, and that's the 130 can do too much more than 50.
Right.
Oh shit! So watching me, so I see the airplane go back and start sinking down, and he gets relit. So holy shit.
Wow.
So but I said, Taylor, head back. You are RTB. And so he gets back and, one strike, you're good. 2 strikes. By the time your 3rd strike, you're out of there. So he packs his stuff and leaves. So now it's just Nacho and I. And God, they are brutal. The Harrier guys and the 8-4 guys are just brutal. There's only 2 of us. There's usually about 10.
Yeah. So you're saying the guys, the instructor cadre now, it was just all of them against you 2, right?
Oh,
they
man.
just haze the living shit out of you, probably.
It was brutal. So we make it through all of that. And so we start the last 7 sorties and they're, big strike packages. We have Air Force there, Navy's there and that. And so we have this one mission, 3rd mission in, and I'm flying with Steve Friss and we're down low doing combat spread combat turns down in the valley. Next valley over was supposed to be Nacho and Vach. Same Vach was from 214.
Okay.
And Vach went down in the trucks. And so we were able to go single ship. So Nacho goes single ship. So he's in the next valley over. Just the way the mechanics of all that worked, we were in the restricted area. We were going to have to leave the restricted area, do about a 15-minute low level to get us back around to do our target attack. Steve and I getting ready to push, and we're heading out, and we hear this, knock it off. Fire up the target area. Shit. Everybody knocks it off. We have to go dump our bombs over to Chocolate Mountains and RTB. So do all that, and I'm sitting there with the A4 guys, and the Ops O comes in and says, "Where's Nacho?" We don't know. He's a flight time hog. He's probably out flying around. So the later said, "Oh, Nacho. It's Nacho that went in." Oh shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys throw saw them real quick. There's a CH-46 out there. It's kind of the range safety and all of that. Well,
so they see the fireball?
They see all of this and no shoot. So they're going, well, crap. So they pick up, they go back to Yuma to get the medical personnel and the body back, right? Because it's no shoot, fireball, so
find pieces of remains to identify and
all that nasty stuff. So they go back and they're flying out in the target area, and one of the waste gunners said, "Hey, I see the pilot." And everybody goes, shit, yeah. And so they land, and here's Nacho leaning against the nose cone of the A4 that's broken off and all that. But he's leaning against it. They land. He runs to the back of the helo. He doesn't have his helmet. He had a really nasty gash on his forehead, they think, from the HUD. And so he runs in the helo, sits down, puts the seatbelt on. He gives them a thumbs up. So everybody's looking at each other. They go back, and somewhere back there, the flight surgeon said, "Hey, I probably need to get you on the stretcher here." So they put him on the stretcher. They take him to the hospital that night. So I went and visited him and said, "Nacho, what the hell's going on? What happened?" He does not remember. He does not remember anything. So Nacho's out. Now it's just me. So in 83.
Ever feel lonely under the microscope?
I was the only light attack pilot that made it through WTI. And I'll tell you, I think when they gave me my certificate, they just, "Get the hell out of here, man."
Yeah.
We're tired of you. Oh my God. So yeah, it'd be interesting to get Nacho on to get his perspective on
We would
that.
love to get a hold of him. And so if people aren't following, what happened is he flew into the deck at 480, 500 knots, never ejected, and the airplane broke apart around him in such a way that he literally walked away from a impact with the ground crash.
We always said that the ground has a piece of K of 100.
Yep.
But actually it's 99.9 because of Nacho.
Because of Nacho. Well, also, in fact, his RF4 was taking film for BDA, and he got the airplane crashing.
No
So
way.
there's actually film out there somewhere. I've seen it. Of course, I was there at the time, but somewhere around there, there's a film of the airplane hitting, and you can see the nose cone as it comes down. The wings come off obviously immediately. So now it's just basically the engine heading down range. The nose cone breaks off and goes to the right, and it kind of tumbles and that. And then the engine starts tumbling. It's just tumbling, 100 times, just because it's going so fast. So there's actually film out there of that crash somewhere.
Boy, if anybody has that, please send it to us. We would love to share that with folks.
I have never seen it since. Never seen it. Just out there at WTI.
Hey, Smytty, I think we covered this before, but repeat. Correct me if I'm wrong. WTI. Did we define that?
I think we did. Yeah, weapons and tactics instructor course. It's the Marine Corps equivalent of, for lack of a better word, of Top Gun.
Yeah.
It's where we go to be the tacticians in the aircraft and strike package.
Exactly. Well, I go back to 211 and, kind of normal stuff. And we get this new lieutenant come in, Oscar. And so we're captains now. We're mischievous. We decided that it'd be great fun to take Oscar to the CO's chair and then put him behind the CO's desk when the skipper went out for lunch. So that's what we did. We take him to the CO's chair. He's making such a racket that we had to put tape over his mouth too. So, so the CO walks into his office, and there's Oscar taped to his chair, and he's got the tape over his mouth. Oh my God. So animal, great. One of the best COs ever. He rolls Oscar in his chair down to the ready room, and we're all down there in the ready room. And he says, "Gentlemen, untape Oscar from my chair and get it back to my office immediately." So I'll go, "Okay, nice." Go, Oscar. And he has such a great humor. He had fun too. So then, I don't know, a week later or whatever, we decided that it'd be great fun to take Oscar to the flagpole. So that's what we did. We went out.
Flagpole in front of the squadron or in front of the base? Okay.
No, in the squadron.
All right.
And so the skipper comes out and he sees Oscar out there and comes down the ready room. "Okay, Joe, let's untape Oscar from the flagpole, please." Oh God, it was great fun.
Or Oscar.
Great fun.
Oh,
So
man.
let's see what else. So we get, change command and we head overseas, and this is where we changed the squadron. So the airplanes that were already over there, we're going to go over and fly those, and our airplanes were just going to swap out. So
Right. Okay.
actually on the advanced party to go over, we had to do test flights and acceptance checks and all that on all the airplanes, 20 airplanes over there. I went by myself. I go, "Hey, this is great, man. I get to fly 20 airplanes." So I went over there and did that. The deployment, pretty normal. Everything is kind of normal. And so it's time to come back. So squadron's getting ready to transpat back to El Toro. So I was on the advanced party going over. I was on the advanced party going back. So I'm hanging out there at El Toro. We didn't have a message board or anything, so I was hanging out mostly up group. Group Opso was a good friend of mine, so hanging out up there and come in, and the Opso says, "Hey, you guys just had a gear up landing." I go, "What?" So I get on the phone and call, and Crash Treehand, and that was really his call sign.
Crash.
Crash.
Oh.
Landed, gear up. And he's actually flying with Oscar. Of course, it does no damage to the airplane. They should get the cherry picker, pick it up, lower the gear, take it, and put new drop tanks on, and the airplane's good as new.
Nice.
So then the skipper with our new WTI, they fly down to Cadena, and now they have 3 tanks. So, they got tons of gas. And so they fly down to Cadena. And so they decided to do the island low level back up to the mainland, Honshu main island. And so they did that. And for some reason, instead of popping up at the last island, they stayed low across the land. And down there south is Kagoshima. It's an international airport.
Oh, yeah.
So the
remember that.
FPI go blowing across Kagoshima International Airport at 500 feet with 747s taking off and landing.
Oh, that's rich.
Oh, man.
That is rich.
So they land and, their message on that. Holy shit.
I can imagine the phone calls going on over that.
Imagine a day or so, 2 days later, I'm in Opsos, just hanging out up there. And he says, hey, Smytty, he says, how come your skipper's here? I said, skipper's not here. They're getting ready to transport. What do you mean? He says, no, I just saw that your skipper go down to the SEAL's office. Really? So shit. So I go down there and kind of peek around. If you go to the SEAL's office, kind of peek in. Sure enough, there's a skipper down there. So the skipper got sent back. The Japanese were really pissed about that. So they decided to get the skipper off island. I never saw the skipper after that. He never came to the squadron area. And I told all the troops, hey, the skipper's back. We got to make sure we do the right things. So
I wonder whose office his flight gear was in.
Again, he's in Group Deal's office. So now the XO, who is Wiz, who is a former test pilot and Blue Angel. I mean, this guy was fantastic. We loved this guy. So now he's left to bring squadron back. We're on the first refueling cycle. Now we're flying KC-10s. And so now we can fly from Iwakuni to directly to Wake Island. Yeah. Where before we had to go to Guam, then to Wake, then to K Bay, and then back to the West Coast. So we're flying directly to Wake Island. And so he's at Wiz refuels, and Jake is the next one in. So Jake hits the basket, and the hose splits right in front of the knuckle. Just pours fuel down the intakes. And of course, now the airplane starts surging and that. And Wiz said, when I looked over, it said, out of every orifice of the airplane, there was a blue flame coming out. So he ejects. He ejects and he ejects into an overcast. And so
and they're out over the water, right, Smytty?
They're coming from out.
Oh shit.
So he's going down and he gets the seatman separation at 15,000 feet. So he's in the chute now and he's hearing this stuff go by. Well, some of the wreckage, he must have ejected upside down. And so some of the wreckage is above him. So now he's in a spare chute and the pieces are coming down. He's going,
oh boy.
Oh,
that'll get your attention. Oh my God.
No kidding. Oh. So he hits the water and gets in. And so the duck butt comes and drops him like a 32-man raft. And he crawls into that. They get a Japanese fishing trawler to come pick him up. So he's in the fishing trawler now. And he said, they kept trying to give me a sake. He said, no alcohol. No. So the Hilo out of Atsugi came to pick him up. I think he had to get back into the water. I think he had to jump out of the boat and that. So they get the basket. He gets in the basket. Well, he said the Navy dragged him through the water. He says, I thought he was going to drown. So they were dragging him through the water, getting him up before they got him up and that. And so he's going, holy crap.
That's just pure harassment.
Right home.
So, I just wish you'd have stayed on the fishing boat and had some sake.
Right.
So anyway, the airplanes come back. The CO did not get relieved, which I was really surprised about. Yeah. So during this, now I'm at WTI. Well, we got to the end of the year and there's fiscal crunch and we didn't have flight time, enough money for flight time and all that. So I'm the WTI. And so I'm going, well, I still need to get X's in the box, right? There's no money for fuel. So I call up the Alameda Reserve Squadron that was flying the A3Ds that were configured to be tankers. Yeah. And so I was going up to Fallon and having them meet me over at Fallon and getting a full bag of fuel. And so I did this for like a couple of months and we were doing night refueling, which is, big, that's hard to do. That's
sure
hard. So I was getting all these guys night tanking and all that. So they get back, after a while and it comes down from probably wing, but the group calls and says, how come you guys are logging all of this flight time and you're only burning this much fuel? You're only getting charged for this much fuel. And so
we're just that good, Skipper.
We are
The
brilliant.
denominator was me. So they go, Smitty, you fat fingering all your flight time and all that? And I said, no. So I told him what I was doing. But nice. We're just refueling with all three dead reserve
A3
squad.
Delta. Nice.
Yeah, 3D. And so they made me stop, which I couldn't believe. They made me stop doing that. So
Burning Navy gas, sir.
Hey,
Navy gas.
not our fuel.
it was free. And they didn't even want to charge. Say, well, they said, don't worry about it. We'll probably dump it anyway.
Well, about that.
So now
Those were heady times, weren't they? I would talk about military budgets and those, even though the Marines didn't have any money for fuel and airplanes.
Smitty,
Yeah,
I have a stop you real quick. I have a question. This is about the right time frame. I had written down earlier in my notes that you were in you were A Force from 78 to 86. Is that right?
Yeah.
Down in El Toro.
Yes.
There was a incident, and I think it was in 85 or 86 in El Toro, where Lance Corporal, crew plane captain. Were you there when that happened?
I was there for that. Yeah.
Okay.
That was obviously.
Fly it like you stole it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, that's been written about a lot.
Yeah.
That was 214, and Frank Kennedy, Waldo was the AMO, and I was next door in 211. Yeah, we came to work, and there were whispers, all this talk and all that. Somebody stole an airplane last night. Does that happen? Yeah.
I was at officer candidate school that summer, Smitty, and our sergeant instructor came and pinned this, was it Navy Times or some article on the wall, said, see you candidates that have the aviation contracts aren't that special. Lance Corporal flew that A4 around last night or whenever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, he had our safety officer, Frosty's pocket checklist, in his pocket. He took that. And Frosty was still trying to figure out how he got it. But yeah, he had Frosty's pocket checklist in there. Yeah. That's a great story on himself. Yeah.
But he had to have an accomplice, because how did he get the plane started by himself?
That's right.
He couldn't have,
no, the A4 was
right?
a self-starter, wasn't it?
No,
Yeah,
it had to have a huffer.
No. It had JFS.
Yeah.
Jet fuel
Oh,
starter.
the mic
Yeah.
had that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The TA4s did not, but yeah, the mic
Yes.
had self-starting. Yeah. Or else it would never have been able to start, because the Marine Corps wouldn't buy them.
That's right. Silly me. All right.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to interrupt. Please continue, sir.
No problem. So we have a change of command later on, 6-8 months later. So now Wiz is the CO, and again, great guy. And we, since he Blue Angel, we all tried to start at the same time. That we fell. So we stopped trying to do that. It was an embarrassment. So anyway, so now Wiz, we're on a late Friday. Everybody's at the club but me. I'm the ODO, and Wiz is trying to get the last airplane out to get up for the weekend. Of course, we're always trying to get the airplanes up on Friday, so you got Saturday and Sunday as good airplane. So he's out flying. I'm looking at my clock. I'm like, come on, Skipper, let's go. Everybody's at the club. I get a phone call from range and saying, hey, Wake 01 just went down off the San Clemente, whatever.
No.
What? Oh, shit. Everybody's at the club. So I call over to the club and ask for the OPSO, and he finally comes on. I said, OPSO, you got to grab everybody. Skipper just went down. And he says, bullshit, Smitty. If you bullshit, and he hangs up.
Oh.
Sorry.
This
I
Friday
called
afternoon buffoonery. We're not believing your shit.
Yeah, really. So I called back. And I said, call sign was Zeus. I said, Zeus, really, you grab the safety officer, grab everybody, and get back over here. So he said, Smitty, he said, if this is a prank, I'm going to kill you. You're going to be a permanent ODO, and all of these threats. Well, they finally drag in, and sure enough, Skipper had gone down. No, that was not good. But he made it out, no problem. Picked him up, and no injuries and that.
Was he out on a PMCF check on that post maintenance check flight?
Full check ride, yeah.
Oh boy.
And And so like the following Saturday or something or whatever, it was on a Saturday. I got a phone call from the skipper from Wiz. So, hey, Smytty, can you come in and help me out for a little bit? I said, well, sure, skipper. So I go in and no POVs were allowed on the flight line. Well, the skipper had his truck down on the flight line by the office. Well, that's odd. So I come down and walk in and he's packing the stuff up. And he looks at me and says, well, Smytty, we had a change command this morning.
On a Saturday?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So
boy.
he-
That's not good.
He got fired for that. And around that time period, we were crashing A4s like crazy. Magic and Surfer from 211, Surfer crashed in an airplane doing some ACM. We had 311 was going overseas and they had 2 airplanes collide at the tanker. And then another squadron airplane had an emergency and lost the generator. Night, of course. He was on his rat. And so he landed and below 65 knots, the rat loses power. And so the airplane goes blank. It's on a dark runway. But Dash 2 lands, freaking runs into him.
Oh, geez.
Oh, yeah. COXO and OPSO got fired on that one. There was a lot of turmoil in the community about that time frame. And I got a story about Perny. He was the group CO at the probably Force. So if you guys know.
Yeah. I dealt
yeah.
with General Herney on numerous occasions when he was the second Moss CG. Not, let's say this. He was a stern man.
He was not pleasant. And I ran across Herney when he was a major, when he was a colonel and then general. And for some reason, I don't know why, he liked me and that, but he's the one that got me Harrier orders. He called me and said, Smytty, you need to get out of A4s and get some time in the Harrier before there's a big mad rush. So I do owe that to him.
Nice.
So,
Smytty, I got to ask you one question.
Yeah.
I want you to find something for us. You use the term rat.
that was a propeller that went down into the airstream. If you lost an A4 mic, anyway, it was electrical. Some of them were hydraulic, but an A4 mic, it was electric. So if you lost your generator, you could pop the rat out and it would spin and give you some essential electricity into the airplane. Because the A4 did not have a battery.
RAT stood for ram air turbine, and it's a little bitty generator.
Little
Just
windmill.
give you a little power.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
It
Sorry.
worked above 65 knots.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Because after that, shit got dark.
Real quick. And so then my next squadron was 331. Of course, I went to Cherry Point. I went to Cherry Point as a captain and checked in to Mag 14. They gave me like tops and I didn't have anything to do, but for about a month or so. And I'm in the group CO's meeting. Colonel Savage was the group CO and they're still flying A's and that. So he's yelling at all the CEOs, come on, you guys, you're crashing their carriers. We got to get control and all that. In the meantime, you can look out over, I believe it's a South Pad. And here's Del Weber, a legend in the Harrier community. He could do things in Harrier nobody else could even dream of. So as the COs are getting yelled at, the COs that could look through and see outside, here's Del Weber at the South Pad and a full nose down, and he's doing a circle like this.
He's pirouetting around the nose, right?
Yeah.
Pirouetting around the.
And I tried that in the simulator. I crashed every time. There's no way.
Every time.
They don't know who's flying the airplane. So the CO's kind of moving on. Keep on. Oh, yeah, I hope that's not my guy.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. So, through 203, well, I got a couple of stories, but whatever. And so I end up at 331 and with Gallo, great CO, fantastic CO. Gosh, I get in right after Jazz and jumped out of the airplane. And the first B dad just got back. So I check in And I was there for a week or so. I'm in the ready room, and admin comes down and says, Major Smith, you need to report to legal at 10 a.m. this morning. And of course, all the cat calls for them. You're in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
And well, what the heck?
What have
So
you
I
done?
go down and I go to legal, and there's sheriff officers around, and they're handcuffing Greens and putting them out to the car, and they're loitering everywhere. So my name gets called, and I go, yeah, Major Smith, that's me. So this lawyer walks up to me and says, you've been served. I'm going, what the hell? And it's divorce papers. And I'm going, I just kissed Carol goodbye a couple hours ago, and we were talking about what we're going to have for dinner. So that was a quick turnaround,
Wow.
So I'm lucky at it. So I open it up, and I don't recognize any of the names or anything. So I turn it back, and it was Smytty. So I spelled mine with a Y.
Yeah.
So I,
Oh, my gosh.
hey, Ron Major Smith. I had to show him ID to tell him that, no, really, this is not me. So I go back, and it was the other major who was OIC of the debt. It was his,
boy.
just got tired of the crap and left him. So, gosh. Oh, and so, we have the normal debts, and we have going to a debt at Yuma, and Gallo wanted the big 14 plane, big hoorah, the first day out. So we fly in. So the next day, we have this big gaggle going out, and I have and since I'm the WTI, I coordinate everything. So we have a OE4M is going to be a range safety officer airplane, and they were going to go around, make sure the target was clear, and then check us in with range control. So we're doing a low level coming in. We got live bombs. And so I'm in the first division, and I'm the SEAD, suppression of enemy air defenses. So we were taking the ZSU 24s and the SA4s. So we had Zunis and 2.75s. So we, to our packs and that, we fire off everything. We go off, and we're ready to rendezvous. Now the skipper's right behind about 2 minutes. I think it's 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes. And so he comes and he punts. He rolls down, and his division was going to cut the runway. So I hear it, knock it off, knock it off, knock it off. And oh shit. So everybody goes up, and Gallo says in his HUD, he could see this white Bronco in the target area, getting the heck out of Dodge, because we had obviously woken him up with the Goonies. So this white Bronco, he said it was hitting the ground about every 10 feet as it was bouncing so much.
It's time to go.
The old A4 Mike range sweeper, he didn't sweep so good or something.
Yeah,
right?
the old board didn't, and it was 22. So,
oh my gosh.
So we had the normal squadron debts and that, and we did one debt to Fallon. So I'm bringing 2 ship back, and then we're following 2 F-18s. And so they're a couple miles ahead of us. So they come in, they break, and then they were running base, and lead lands normal, goes out, and 2 lands short. It's a 2-seater. He lands short. Now we're coming up for the break now, and he lands. There's dust and rocks and everything going everywhere. So he staggers and gets airborne again, and we're going, holy crap! And so he gets airborne and turns downwind. He says, hey, I've lost hide 1. So, well, okay, no problem. So he goes around, and the tower said, hey, the runway spotted. And they're going, well, we're declaring an emergency. We're landing. And so he's coming around, he hits about the 90, and he says, hey, I've lost hide 2. And so on the back radio, I said, gosh, on the Harrier, you lose hide 2, both hides, you're out of there. Well, in the F-18, it's the same. You see this, so they jump out at the 90. The airplane goes fireball and that. And so the tower says, okay, airport's closed and you guys got to go someplace else. And I'm going, no. I said, we'll land at midfield, well away from everything. And I didn't want to divert. I ended up doing a 60 knot, land and then just turn off. And so on the back radio, ops calls us and says, hey, are you guys okay? I said, yeah. I said, that was the F-18 that crashed. So they heard an airplane that crashed on the field. And that. So
For once, it wasn't a Harrier. One of the Hornets did.
Wasn't us.
Yeah.
It once wasn't us. So
And because you were in a Harrier, you didn't need all the runway, and you go,
Oh.
yeah. We're going to land at the far end, no problem.
land,
Yeah.
500 feet short of the taxiway and just taxi off. Now we're back at Cherry Point, and the skipper Gallo always wanted to see who the best pilots were in the squadron and all of that. So he wanted to find out who the field grade, who the best pilot was. And so it was the skipper, the XO Snake, the the AMO Buckwheat, and me, AMO. And we were the field grade. So he says, all right, we're going to go out to the warning area. We're going to have 500-foot separation. And he's going to take a cardinal heading out, go 5 miles out, turn back in, and the fight's on. Right. So it's
Whoa. It's a 4v4, 1v1. What?
It was everybody against everybody.
Oh,
It was-
go.
It was a free for all.
What could possibly go wrong?
I don't see anything going wrong here.
So
Okay, now you got my attention, Smytty.
I was the WTI, right? So, and I was the OPSO. So I arranged everything. I arranged with the range control to give me vectors for GCI, ground controlled intercept.
Right.
So on the way out,
Yes.
I gave each one of the guys a different squawk. And so the CO had one. So I knew that he was Magic 01 when, we turn in and all that. Well, I systematically just shot everybody. Okay. Fox 2 skipper, you're dead, and they couldn't figure out why I knew their name and who was flying the airplane. Because, in the airborne, you really couldn't tell. And so,
Because you're the WTI and you just know that shit.
you know that shit.
That's right.
So I'm getting vectored around. I'm shooting everybody down on every pass. And so the skipper's motto was, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Right
And
on.
so he had told me he'd done this before. So I was aware of it. In fact, I told the controllers, this gauge, we all take a cardinal heading. Well, there's only 3 airplanes. The controllers only showing 3 airplanes. I'm going, I know what. Gallo, it was the XO. He got right underneath the XO. And now he's following the XO out on his head. So as soon as he's going to turn back in, the skipper's going to shoot him, right? Well, I got vectors to the skipper. So now we have 3 airplanes basically in line. So to turn back in, Gallo, waits a appropriate amount of time, and all that, and it calls Fox 2. And so, airplane heading, whatever and all that. And so we have a pitch out altitude way to get out of the flight and all that. So then I call Fox 2 on the skipper. Fox 2, Magic 01, you're dead. And so you see this wing rock and all that. So then I get vectors around and I kill Buckwheat. So anyway, so I lead the 4 planes back to Cherry Point and, victorious and all that. And so we went to the hot pits and hot refueled. And then we were going on to a cross country. So we launch and that, and later on that night, I think we went to West-Pac. We're at the Oak Club and we have a couple of beers. And so I said, gentlemen, I stood up, that I like to say that I had the best GCI I've ever had today. And so they all looked at me and said, then they finally realized what I had done. And they poured beer on me. I had a beer shower. And they're going, you asshole. So that was
great.
Yeah, that was great fun. Gosh, there's so many stories.
Hey, Smitty, the snake that you mentioned there, was that Buell?
No.
Okay, different snake. Okay.
Dickie White.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You
He's
know,
the one who gave Otto his call sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otto.
I know.
I was there.
What are you on, full automatic there, you?
It's a big deal to get the guns on and do that and get the OE4 and run the banner and a big deal. So we, call in and
one pass.
Otto, I don't remember what his call sign was before. Calls off, I'm Winchester.
One pass, two's off
Come on.
Winchester.
Come on. Oh, no. So, yeah, that got his call sign. Yeah, it was hilarious.
That's awesome.
So, listen, gosh, there's so many more. We have a change command, and now we have Hunter. And this is where Lawman was kind of talking about Hunter.
Oh, the Lieutenant Savoy incident was.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I've got a couple of lawman stories, and
let's hear one.
He was my QA officer. So we're at Iwakuni. He takes a check flight up, and so he decides he wants to see how fast he can get to Heritage. So he gets up 40,000 feet or so, and pulls it over and starts going down. Well, at whatever Mach number, he starts getting an adverse yaw.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, scaring him to death. You kind of got to be careful with the rudder at those airspeeds, right? You don't want to have a cross control or whatever. So scares him to death. So he pulls his power back. He finally gets the airplane back on the deck, and he opens the 8 tops and it does. Yeah, there's a warning with the refueling probe.
With the probe on.
The probe on, you're restricted at 9.8, 9.6, something like that. And lawman tells me this right after I had already gotten out. I think he was a bird colonel now. After I'd gotten out, and it's kind of like the dad, when he hears confession from his kids.
Right.
That time you and Mom went away, we had a party.
Exactly. So he told me that story. I just laughed. And also a story about the PI when we were overseas and we're doing a section go and into a 200-foot overcast. We get airborne, you get our gear sucked up, and one man says, "Smytty, I got a firelight." What the hell? So I look over. I said, "You got the lead. Start dumping." And so he starts his turn, start dumping. Now we're in the wisp of the 200-foot overcast, and so now I'm on the outside of it dumping fuel. So we comes around and there were 2 F-18s sitting on the whole shore watching this circus. And so it comes in, lawman lands, and there's, steam and everything go up and that. So now I'm still dumping. I go past and make sure he gets on the deck. Right. So I'm still dumping 200 feet around back in the Bay Area and back into your familiar with Snoopy Bay and that. So now I finally land with, I can do a slow landing. So I do a slow landing and get off, and these F-18 guys are going, God, let's, those Harrier guys, what a circus. The skipper is very interested in the airplanes, but back then we had a fire wire that went around. It used to get clipped or nicked all the time. So flare lights were kind of not routine, but not unheard of. Mm-hmm. And it really wasn't that big a deal. So anyway, let's see.
Weren't you guys threatened just short of your lives if you didn't bring those airplanes back from that weekend though, because you were getting ready to transfer back home?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. When the troops came down, I was the AMO at the time. The troops came down. I said, "You guys make sure you find something wrong with that wire." Yeah. Sure.
Here's some wire clippers if you need them.
So they worked through that and that was a lot of fun. Then we transpac back. I can't think of any particular things that went awry on our transpac back. But then we had I had a change command at Fitzgerald. Jerry Fitzgerald took over the squadron. And this was right before the Gulf War. And I've been in the squadron since about 87. So it's whenever that, not 91, whenever 90.
Well, that was a fall of 90 is when Saddam crossed the line. So you guys probably deployed.
Yeah.
Just before 91.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. We're on an 8-month deployment with 20 airplanes, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, you guys were on the Nassau, as I recall, right?
The
Nausea, the USS Nassau, and
and,
but you were out before Thanksgiving. Did the president come up for Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah. So we saw the First Lady, Schwarzkopf, Powell, everybody was on the ship. We have some good pictures. But you know what was really interesting is we had the president and all that, and we had the Secret Service come on beforehand.
Sure.
And that, but we had our 9mm in our rooms, locked up in our lock. They didn't make us, take those back to the Army or anything. So we, the trust, I guess, it was kind of
special trust
cool.
and confidence, right? Yeah. So,
yeah.
So can you confirm or shed any light on the story about Nightmare asking Barbara Bush for a hug?
No, don't know.
Okay.
Know.
Yeah.
After you have not.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it was Nightmare that asked her for a hug when you guys got to meet everybody. Something.
Yeah.
And of course, his name is Reagan, so she's like, oh,
right.
That's yeah.
Well, yeah. There were some guys that got up and more personal. In fact, we have pictures of Bush in the airplane, and I don't remember. I think it was Tiny showing him the cockpit. So some of them got up close. I wasn't one of them. I was back in the back of the field there. But have you guys heard about Nightmare's when he ejected?
Only from him, but that's been many years ago. I'm sure you got more details in mind than I do.
Let's hear it.
Yeah,
let's hear it, Smytty.
Well, he probably tells us about a story, but he and Wolf, and they were at altitude, and we were flying the 406s at that time. They had hydromex, which you just think of it as the carburetor,
right?
And so they were at altitude, and a bolt had worked itself off the fuel control, and so the engine went to idle. Man, no matter what he did, the engine was idle. So he starts coming down, and so they start, they're talking to center and declaimers and all that, and so they're going, well, you can divert, all over these airfields. The problem is he's at idle. You have no way of getting around in that, and all the airports were surrounded by homes and that. So probably we're over the water, probably better, let's see if I can't get the same relet. And so he's down there. I think it's 5,000 feet. He says, all right, well, this is it. So they're paralleling the beach, man, and Wolf is on that outside. So the plan was he's going to eject the airplane, just go down into the water and that. And so Nightmare ejects, and the airplane makes a right turn right to the beach.
Shit.
And Wolfie is talking not low voice to the center, this. Then once it went right, it went, the airplane went right. The airplane's going to the beach. And we actually had the ATC recording that. It's hilarious. And so the airplane fortunately overflies the beach where people were on the beach.
Oh my gosh.
A marsh behind it. And the airplane stuck in the marsh like a dart.
Like a big lawn dart, huh?
Just the tail of the airplane sticking up out of the dart. It was hilarious. We had to strike the airplane, but yeah.
So if overflew the beach, overflew the people, landed in the marsh on the other side of the beach.
All right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So let's see what else. With Desert Storm, we had the tragedy of losing Manny and Reggie. That was
right.
Yeah.
Manny was it's my -4. It was me. That was my flight coming back, and that was I think Scorch was on that flight, and maybe ET. I can't remember, but Manny was the dash last. He was last one. We were on the anchor, and I don't remember where we were. We're next to a country, and they did want us to fly over the country, and so they had us. The boat was swinging, the BRC was going everywhere, and they had us 90 degrees out to the boat, and then come in, turn, come back around, and then they went. And I almost died. I forgot to put my water on.
Oh shit!
So I was coming around, and man, when I went off wing-borne flight, that airplane went down. Everybody was screaming at me. Power. So I go through the limiters, and holy shit! So I go over the stern of the ship and land, and holy crap! So I'm downstairs. It was -2. Scorch came in and that's when Manny took it in. So I got to tell you the story about Scorch. He became
he went to NASA, right?
He went to NASA and was pilot for two of the missions, 117 and one other one.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Scorch, he was the first lieutenant in the squadron, and we were having all sorts of problems with our flaps. And in fact, that's what caused, many crashes, and which Jazz being one of them. And so
nozzle blast impingement.
Nozzle blast, yeah. So he gets a flat failure. I'm going, leave your nozzles in. So he comes in and lands, and so he didn't beat the flaps up. So he put the nozzles aft. So he taxied in with the flaps down. And I'm telling you, those flaps were burnt through and through.
Oh boy!
I'm guessing that's how he got the call sign Scorch.
Acting got Scorch. Yeah. You guys could do a whole show on call signs.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we kind of did, but we've got a lot more to go. I know for sure. I just know to give people an idea. So the Harrier has 4 nozzles, 2 cold nozzles and 2 hot nozzles. The cold nozzles come off the compressor section of the engine. The hot nozzles come off the turbine section in the engine, and it's couple 300 degrees Celsius. And that's why we had to land on any kind of a blacktop. We had to land with forward motion so we wouldn't do it. I remember being at the air show in Lebanon, New Hampshire in 90, I think it was 90, might have been 93, but I think it was 94, and left a little Harrier kiss on their ramp there at one point. I put my nozzles down at idle and then went, oh yeah, it's blacktop, put it up, got out of the airplane, and there was melted two melted spots where we call it a Harrier kiss.
You'd always tell where Harrier was, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, Smytty, how much flight time did you retire out of the Marine Corps with?
Gosh, I had about 4,300 hours.
And how much of that was in the Harrier?
I think just shy about 1,800, and I had about 2,000. See if the math works out. In the A4 Mike. So
couple hundred in flight school and everything else in Harrier.
In OE4, T-28 OE4Ms. Well, I discovered early on that I could get extra flight time if I flew for the hams, flew the T-birds. Right. So I became a FAC attacker. And so when I wasn't flying the squadron, they were always looking for pilots. So in fact, me and Grizz, we kind of zeroed in on that. And God, I flew my butt off on with OE4Ms.
Okay. And for our listeners, what's the FAC attacker?
Well, a forward air controller, airborne, and air control airborne.
So okay.
Yeah. So
that's a lot of climbing up and down the ladders of A4s and Harriers to get 4,300 hours. Holy
that's right. Single seat, single engine.
Yeah. Did you ever?
I was always in the squadron. I only spent about less than 3 years out of the squadron. So
that's like unheard of, Smytty. Unheard of.
Absolutely. No. Exactly.
And then some years, some of the banner years, gosh, I was 400 hours. I mean, it's just, I like I say, I flew my butt off.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad somebody got to.
Yeah.
And those are some great stories. Sadly, we really come to the end of our time together today, but I'm most hopeful you'll come back with us and spend some more time, please.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm guessing you have got a few more stories in there.
I got a whole list here of stories. So
nice. In 4,300 hours, you're bound to be quite the list. So
yeah, that's a lot of getting in and getting out right there.
Absolutely, it is. That's crazy. I'm jealous though.
I am too. I am too, Smytty.
Man,
it was a good time.
All right. Well, sadly, our time together this week is coming to a close. I want to reach out and thank Dave Hamilton over at the Mac Geek Gab for his support and knowledge and know-how, helping us get this show up and running.
Thank you, Dave.
I want to remind everybody that we have a glossary page at sothereiwas.us. We also have a links page at sothereiwas.us, so you can come back and see the raw recordings and the inside baseball, so to speak, of how we put these recordings together from the raw portion and not the edited final show. We have a sponsor, Robin's Bird Brain Designs. She will laser etch for you almost anything. She does coasters with your squadron logo and your call sign, those sorts of things. She can actually do your laptop or your iPad or something like that too. If you want to put a design on that, put a custom name on, anything like that. Reach out to robinsbirdbraindesigns.com and see what she can't laser etch for you or for somebody whose gift you need to customize.
She does fantastic work, I can say from personal experience.
It is fun stuff. And also, we've got Rumble. If you're watching us right now live, then you already know that we have a Rumble page. I'm going to ask you to go there, please, to sothereiwas.us/Rumble and sign up and subscribe and follow us. Doesn't cost anything. And we need about 55, 60 more followers so we don't have to pay Rumble to bring you live stream.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. Listen to Fig.
Come on.
Fig, tell him what to do.
Just do it.
Just
It
do
doesn't
it.
cost you anything, for crying out loud.
Doesn't. You can follow us on Facebook at sothereiwas.us/Facebook. On Twitter at sothereiwas.us/Twitter. You can email us. Email repeat at sothereiwas.us, REPETE, or fig at sothereiwas.us. And in the background there, you hear a little music. That's from who?
Those gringos.
Those gringos.
Those gringos.
The two guys that give the Air Force a great name. A lot of fun music from them, right? They've been gracious enough to share their music with all of you and with us and allow us to bring it to you. So we can't tell you how much we really appreciate that. And the other thing we need you to do is to share. Share this show with everybody you know. Push them to it. Make them go listen. Hold them down. Tape. I'll tell you what. Tape them like Oscar to the chair and make them listen. Right? I mean, that's how we do it.
Hey, these are great stories, and I know there's more great stories out there. So this could trigger somebody to say, hey, I got a story.
Absolutely. And to you, Smytty, we also want to thank you. Thank you, first of all, for coming on and sharing some of this with us, and we hope you'll come back and share more. But also, sir, thank you for your service. We appreciate your willingness to sacrifice your very life. And thank you to your family for their sacrifice, for the time you spent away from them on birthdays and anniversaries and missed all those things in order to serve your country. It's deeply appreciated by all of us.
Thank you, Smytty.
Well,
And Semper Fi, my friend. And I can tell that you missed a lot of birthdays, anniversaries, and everything in between based on how many West-Pac tours and combat deployment you did.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So with that, until next week, everybody, stay safe and check 6.
This here is a true story about crossing the pond at night in the world's smallest cockpit
Small.
on the tanker through the weather. Oh, and to the tanker crew who did that, thanks a lot. We really appreciated that.
I'm just kidding.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. Well, there I was, crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly fond of all the shit I was wearing on that day. Now an F-16 is cramped enough, but it's even worse with all that stuff supposed to save your life. But we knew there was no way. Cause when you're going down in the North Atlantic, man, it's over.
And the show's over, folks. Thanks so much for joining us.
all right. Well, thanks again, guys. There's different modes to deliver a nuclear weapon, and Grizz was going to do what's called over the shoulder. And so you basically fly over the target, you pull up, straight up, bomb releases, you go back one way, bomb comes down. Okay. Well, that was what was planned. Well, what happened is when he was over the target and he's pulling up, we need about 45 degrees nose up, the bomb releases. And it's a Mark 76, so it's not
Yeah.
that big.
It's,
But the bomb releases, and Goodman's going, holy crap. So he's watching the bomb go. Then he had to turn around and join up with Grizz on the way out. And he said, last thing I saw, that bomb was heading toward Mexico.